What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and today I'm going to look at this story that came out 2 days ago that got a lot of press attention. It's basically this political science professor doubling down on his prediction that Trump is going to win re-election, and he is very, very confident. He says that right now Trump has a 91% chance of winning re-election. Based on my last video, this is where I see the 2020 race between Joe Biden and Donald Trump right now. So obviously, I do not buy into the narrative that currently Trump has a 91% chance to win. But I want to look at his methodology. He has this website called the primary model, and this is what he's basing his predictions on. And so I'm going to look at it and see if I can maybe poke some holes in it. And before I get too far into my video, I want to remind you all, please subscribe. I'm on my road to 1,000. I want to try to get to 1,000 subscribers by next week. Currently, I'm 878. I'm almost there. I've had a lot of great enthusiasm lately, so please. And once I get to 1,000, I'm going to have a special surprise. It's going to be a giveaway and a very, very special video. So please stay tuned for that. So anyway, Mediaite was the first website to kind of publish this story, and a lot of other media outlets picked up on it, like Fox News and some other ones. But he is a professor at Stony Brook, and basically his model that he started in 1996 has predicted the presidential winner right, except for the Bush's election in 2000. And if you stretch out his model just using the raw data, he would have gotten every single election right from 1912, except for John F. Kennedy's and George W. Bush's. So in 2016, he predicted that Donald Trump was going to win, and a ton of people called him crazy. So I think that does give him some more credibility going into 2020. Although I do not think right now it's very credible that Trump has a 91% chance to win. So even though that he won 304 electoral votes in 2016, this model says that he's going to get 362 electoral votes in 2020, mimicking Barack Obama's landslide victory in 2008. So after a little while, I'm going to try to measure what that would look like. What is Donald Trump's path to 365 or 362 electoral votes? Because he doesn't specify on his website which states would be in play, but I'm going to try to kind of guess that. So basically what this model looks at is the primary. So they look at both the parties and the enthusiasm in their primary, because that's one thing that Hillary Clinton actually didn't have as much as in 2016. Bernie Sanders was a surprise challenger, and I actually do think that this affected the 2016 election at large. There were a lot of Bernie supporters who thought the DNC was rigged, that Bernie was it was completely unfair. And I think a lot of those Bernie voters stayed home, and 10% of Bernie primary voters voted for Trump in the election, so showing some crossover. And what this primary says in 2020, this is the website of the professor, is that Joe Biden early on in states like New Hampshire and like Iowa especially, Joe Biden came in fourth in Iowa and fifth in New Hampshire, that his early on his support was not very strong. And what his consensus is, what his theory is that early primaries, they're a major key to electoral victory in November. After South Carolina, Joe Biden did very, very well in the primaries, but he also uses this data to help prove his theory. So like the incumbency advantage is historically been very good. You see like challengers here. So that is pretty interesting. And it shows kind of how his model has worked in the past. But one thing that's pretty interesting is I want to look back at the 2016 model to see actually how accurate this was. So Trump did win, and he did predict this right. But one thing I think it's important to know that just kind of, I mean, it doesn't completely poke holes in his theory, because he did guess the correct outcome of the election when the entire media didn't. And that's what he says at the end of this article. He's like, polls and poll-based forecasts all handed Hillary Clinton a certain victory in 2016, which is definitely true. So you could argue that his model maybe is more accurate than the polls, even though I don't buy this narrative completely. I'm trying to find where it came out of, but basically, in this model, he said that Donald Trump would win the popular vote by about 5 percentage points, which didn't happen. And he overestimated Donald Trump's performance in the Electoral College. Not to say that he was wrong at all, but but Donald Trump did lose the popular vote, and that's like one. He kind of has like a cover up. He's like, "Oh, I predicted the 2000 election wrong, but he still lost the popular vote." So you can't exactly have it both ways. But I do give this professor a lot of credit. I was one of those people in 2016. I was surprised that Donald Trump won. So anyone who predicted a Donald Trump victory, you just have to give credit to, regardless of the political affiliation or whatever, because they were in the small minority, and they were getting derided by the media a ton, and people were calling them idiots. And then after the election, it turned out that all of us, the media, all these political pundits, were the idiots. So let's look at what a Donald Trump 362 electoral map would look like. So this is how I have it currently. But let's see what states, and like these are states that I think, like going in order, that I think Donald Trump would have a better chance to win. So this was the outcome in 2016, but to win, he's going to have to expand it. So I think the next state that's going to be winnable is the state of Minnesota for him. Next up, I'd probably say New Hampshire, Nevada, and see, I mean, this is a stretch. So I mean, next I would probably say Maine, but he's still Joe Biden's still going to win that first district. And I mean, I'm kind of coming up empty a little bit. Potentially Colorado. I mean, they do have a Republican senator from there. I mean, I really don't think Donald Trump's going to win Virginia. Ooh, I mean, this is tough. Looking back at the 2016 results, I mean, I guess it is possible that he wins Virginia, but I just feel like with Joe Biden, he's like been in Washington for a while. Like the Northern Virginia people know him so well. I guess I'd have to go with New Mexico. All right, and then to get to actually to get to 362, this actually makes sense. So I think Oregon would probably be the state. It could be Connecticut, but this is probably what his model is looking at. And I do think it is possible if Trump does very well with Hispanics, it's very possible for him to win Arizona and even to pick up Nevada. I think New Mexico will be out of his reach, but if he does incredibly well, I guess it's possible. But we will have to see. So there you have. This is 362 to 167. This is what it would look like. This would give Donald Trump a 91% chance to win according to this model. Of course, if we look at other models, not really any other models are giving him this percent chance of victory. That's actually not what I was looking for. If we look at this presidential forecast manipulator, which is actually really interesting, I'm going to do a separate video just by myself. So I'm going to fill in everything we did before and see. Yeah, so I guess this is what we had exactly. So out of the 20,000 different scenarios that they have here, only 3 out of them predict this outcome. So it's possible, but I just think it's very, very unlikely. And this would give Donald Trump 362 electoral votes. So there's the video. I'll put the link to the article in the description. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.